Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Football Inc., your daily dose of football news from around the planet. It's a big one tonight. Lots and lots has happened in the last 24 hours, but in about the last 24 minutes, a monster story has broken from Fabrizio Romano over in Ligue 1, or should I say now Ligue 2, or at least that is where a certain club are going to be playing their football, pending an appeal. John Textor, former owner of Crystal Palace, the Eagle Holdings Group, he sold his stake last week, primarily, probably at a ridiculously low price, under the pressure of trying to get another one of his teams over in France out of financial jeopardy. They have struggled since the collapsing financial deal of the media rights, and it wasn't enough. At a hearing today, Ligue 1's Lyon now become Ligue 2's Lyon, and with that, there's 2 or 3 players that may or may not be leaving very, very shortly. We got that story. We got Tottenham versus Arsenal in a battle apparently for Mohamed Kudos. We have a Newcastle outrageous bid, a cheeky little bid for Anthony Elanga that has been rejected by Forest. We've got so much more to get through. It's going to be a belting hour. Please strap yourselves in, but smash the granny out of the like button. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. And let's find out how co-host Johnny H3232 is. How are you, John?
I'm all good. Hang on. Strapping myself in. It's a big one. Listen, I mean, look, let's be honest here, right? French football is in an absolute mess. You know, whilst PSG are lapping up all the headlines out there, the reality is QSI, the owners of Paris Saint-Germain, if it wasn't for the Champions League, there'd be no money. There is no money. You know, there's no French TV deal. I mean, they can't buy the stadium. They can't do much with the stadium because it's owned by the city. Time to sell up maybe and come and buy a club in London. There's a couple going. There's a couple going. But no, I think the general state of French football means that it's absolutely ripe right now for clubs throughout Europe to start plundering them. We've seen Rennes lose, I think, something like 4 or 5 of their players already. And if this news that we've heard tonight goes ahead, then absolutely they're going to be bang in trouble. And Texter, I mean, the big man, right? Given it big posturing, want to get involved with Everton, wants to get involved with this one and with that one. He sells his shares for what I would class as a bargain for old Woody.
Pennies in the pounds of the Jets owner, who sniffed an absolute deal, didn't he? Sniffed one out there.
The deal, absolute cracking deal for 43%. And well, that hasn't actually been ratified as yet, Sean. But it will be because, in essence, I'm sure that deal's done. They just
do you know what, though? Do you know what? I mean, maybe there's a chance now. Like, maybe you could pull out because if he goes, well, you know, I was trying to save Lyon, but if it's not enough, we'll talk about the story in detail in a minute. But maybe he turns around and pulls out and goes, no bollocks. If you want, tell you what, Woody, you can have Lyon if you want instead.
Absolutely, guys. Big up to everyone in the chat. Great to have you here. And let's, if you want to join in, got anything you want to say, just hit those comments and we'll bring you up. So,
yeah, as Jonathan Stringer has said here, just quickly, as Jonathan Stringer has said here, mate, let us know who he supports. And I'm guessing maybe you're from Peterborough as well, Jonathan.
Barry Fry, mate. Barry Fry.
Barry Fry, indeed. Yeah, we love that. Love a bit of
Fry,
Barry.
Ferguson.
Just guys, do us a favour if you're new around these here parts, do what Jonathan did and let us know where you're from, who you support. We'd love to get to know everyone as this channel is growing. But like I say, please just smash the like button for us as we're going to take you through the last 24 hours of football. A few people asking if I'm okay. I was fine like 5 minutes after. I don't know why. I had a weird spell last night, about an hour and 15 into the stream. Got a bit dizzy and thought we should probably end the stream, but it all passed very quickly. But thank you for checking in, guys. And I might even be doing a stream on Tottenham Hotspur a little bit later on this evening as well. So look out for that. Johnny, let's stick with the French stories, mate. Let's stick with the French stories because there's a story out today. If you remember from a couple of days ago, you've just mentioned quite appropriately that that France are going to get ransacked, right? France are going to get. Here we go. My Twitter. Well, Newcastle United have pivoted back. They already took a look at Lille goalkeeper Lucas Chevalier, I think it is, or Chevalier.
Chevalier.
Chevalier. It's a brilliant name. Yeah. Chevalier. If you're an Englishman where I come from, because they saw an offer rejected for. What's that?
Just Chev.
Chev, yeah, exactly. Just call him Chev.
Right,
they saw an offer rejected for Burnley's James Trafford last week. That source is coming from The Athletic. Is this going to be just a wave, mate? We've been saying this for a while, isn't it? A wave of French players are going to be moving into Europe. But there is a story before I come to you. Sorry, I'm rambling here already. Don't mean to be. There's one player that might be going to France, Jordan Henderson, on a free transfer from Ajax to Marseille. Let me know about those sorts of stories, mate. What's going on in your mind here?
I mean, listen, look, Monaco seem to be the only club that's like hoovering up sort of all sorts of players. They're looking at Onana. They've even offered Paul. I haven't played football for 2.5 years. Pogba. They've got other players coming in. PSG, obviously, they're PSG. They're one on their own. And Marseille, they seem to be the ones, that are doing okay. Højbjerg went there last year with the Nutter manager, who's still intact. That's a fiery place, Marseille, to be a manager with the fans and everything. And I think he's well suited there. But I think we're going to see a lot more of this because let's be honest, Sean, with the numbers that you're getting quoted in Spain, the numbers you're getting quoted in Germany, maybe the best value is in France. The only thing to bear in mind, there's been lots of Nicolas Pepes and Dombeles. There's 150 million there down the Swanee. And Cuckoos and Clinton in Jays and have all come from the French league. And I'm sure you can all name lot more. So I think you've got to be a bit discerning. But I do actually think that France is there for the picking.
I do as well, mate. There's some really good players out there. We spoke
about
one
of those clubs.
Yeah, well, I was looking at. I've got it. I think I've got it in front of me here. I was looking at. Here we go. Let me show you guys. I had it all prepared already. This is Lyon's current squad.
Well, there's one there we already like very much, isn't there?
First of all, hang on, that's not the right page. Where's my page? Where's my page? Here we go. Share this tab instead. Sorry, it's all over the place here. So this is Olympic Lyon's current squad, and if I just do the easy bit and just pivot to by market value, we know this little man, not heightest here, but he's smaller than Podence.
Yeah,
Malik Fofana, cracking left winger.
He's about 5'4", I think we looked at.
But I tell you what, mate,
what a player!
This guy right here is also a delectable passer of the ball. Thiago Almada, right? He's 24 years old.
Is he Uruguayan or Argentina?
Sorry? Yeah, he's an Argentinian. He plays for Argentina. He's an international.
Yeah.
I've got his stats on the screen here. So he plays as like a can play off the left and the right, but he's definitely more of a 10. Look at the sort of stats that he's involved in, right? Is 99th percentile. This is the top 5 leagues, by the way, not top 14.
Say, right, for those who are coming in here, we take it for granted that most people understand what these mean. If you're coming in and this first time you've seen FF refs, basically the more green, the better, and the higher the number, the better. So when you see 99 percentile, that's in
means that the very highest, the very most
highest in comparison with others in that position.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's got a 90 percentile completion ratio for medium passes. He's not going to have long passes playing as a 10, so that's kind of irrelevant. But he's just a passer. He's a wet dream. If you like a player that can connect the dots and be a connector in chief. And for what it's worth, this is a real killer one, right? Goal creating actions. He does something basically every game. 9 games in 10, he does something that leads to a goal, right? Which is insane for a 10. It's an insane.
Do you remember, Sean, when about 18 months ago or longer, you and I were having wet dreams about Desiree Doué.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So,
unfortunately, I'm not sure if PSG are in the same sort of bracket. Although maybe they are, though, mate. Maybe they are for European rules, because if their revenue's down because of, I know they've probably got the same shenanigans, right? But maybe that's why they're looking to sell Bradley Barcola. Maybe that's why they're looking to sell a few of their players, right? Manu Kolo Muani, that sort of thing,
Yeah, I can't understand why they're selling Kolo Muani. I mean, he's been absolutely fantastic since he's gone to Juventus. So, but another one Chelsea are looking at, by the way.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, this Thiago Almada, don't be surprised if Daniel Levy is going, I feel like there's a value trade there, Johnny, a value trade.
I know, but listen, look, I think both of those players will likely go. I think Malik Fofana will definitely go. There's numerous clubs that are interested in him all over Europe and in the Premier League. And Almada, the same. He's only 24 years of age and still improving. And I think there's lots of. I mean, if you were watching the game against Denmark the other night, Denmark have some incredible young talent coming through. I've been going on about this for the last 2 or 3 years. Their academies, along with Sweden, really upped their game over the last 4 or 5 years. And we're seeing a lot of Danish players coming through in Germany, youngsters going straight out to Germany and then ending up over here. But the French, so that was a great game. And it took an 85th minute goal from Matthias Tell to win the game over. But as was said in the chat earlier, France have got some fantastic young talent. They really have incredible talent. And I think, with the league being the way it is, Sean, there might be some other pearls that are going to drop in the Premier League over the next couple of months.
Do you know what else is? You know what else might happen, mate? You might see a little bit of a changing of the guard. We've been talking about that in the Premier League. There was like a new world order emerging in the Premier League with the likes of Newcastle and Villa champing at the bit to get up and amongst it. Man United looked like they were falling off. Maybe like their ambitions this summer suggest that they're not going to try and let that happen so easily. But in any event, maybe the same sort of thing might happen in France. If you have Lyon, if they are relegated and the appeal fails, and other teams that need to sell, people like Rennes, people like Stade Rennais, these guys that don't have any money, and PSG lesser extent, they're probably going to be there anyway. But a team like Monaco that's got that Robber Boblev or whatever his name is, the billionaire from Russia, was from Ukraine. I think it's Robber Boblev. It's a very difficult name to say. I mean, he's looking to sell anyway, but if he hangs around now with his sort of values, with his ability, like the draw of Monaco, tax-free status, all of these things, there may be a chance for one or two of the smaller teams that don't have the same pressures on them financially for whatever reason, random variables. You might see some of them pop up and get a chance playing in Europe more regularly that they wouldn't otherwise have. So it could just be a change. It doesn't mean that all French players and all the superstars out of France are going to leave town.
No, they're not all going to leave. But let's be serious. The club's desperate for money, right? And if they can get the money, they can get the money for the players. But we're not needing to pay 60, 70 million. Right, I mean, Kolo Muani is probably an exception. They want 85 million euros for him, but there's so much talent out there. As I said, if you watch the French under-21s, you will see. Talking about random, Sean, I found this. I'm wearing a Italian shirt from God knows when. Could be 30 years old. This shirt. Could be. It was a bit random. I found it. I thought I'd wear it. Ansu Fati to Monaco. Anyone who's had an injury or has had a trauma is on his way to Monaco. Ansu Fati, Paul Pogba, Onana. There's others. Yep.
Just quickly, I've just seen. So someone said that Thiago Almada's only on. I didn't realise that. I've just looked him up. You're actually right. But guess where he's on loan from? Botafogo, who happens to be John Textor's other club.
Correct. Who just happened to have sold their two best players for only £30 million to Edu at Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Igor Jesus and Cunha, the centre-back. I thought Botafogo were unlucky the other night, to be honest.
I didn't see the game. To be
They
honest,
go through. They lost 1-0 to Atletico Madrid, but still go through, and Atletico Madrid go home. So,
quite interesting though. So John Texter's loaded players for Botafogo. Surprised that Thiago Almada plays for Botafogo. He's not already over in Europe permanently. He's a really cracking player. But like what's good for the goose? I say that from a drink your shot if you're playing Shawnee Bingo. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Like if John Texter's in real financial pickles now because he's just sold his Crystal Palace share for probably only 60% of the market value to put it into Lyon, who are going to get relegated anyway. There's only so much money to move around. Botafogo might be saying, well, did you sell our 2 players for 30 million quid to Nottingham Forest? So that money then gets redistributed over to help Lyon out of a pickle. This is the problem with pecking order politics, mate, in multi-club ownership.
Should have sold them to Palace, mate. Should have sold them to Palace. Right? I mean, why didn't he give the heads up to Palace? He sold them to Forest for 30 million. Palace could have bought both for 30. Ginola, yes. This shirt is in honour of Don Fabio. And Madsy says Douglas Luiz available for 25 million euros. I know, and United are looking at him. Look, Douglas Luiz, for me, being a Spurs fan, we need a Monster 6. And for me, ready-built Monster 6, played in the Premier League. Not sure why he left Villa to go to Italy. Hasn't quite worked out. But what can you get for 25 million these days? Not much. So for me, if it was me, but unfortunately I'm not Johan Lang, who only seems to look at players under the age of 21, I'd be going to buy him 100%.
Do you think Douglas Luiz will make a return to the Premier League?
I do.
Yeah, so do I. So do I.
He was outstanding. He's outstanding. What great value in a time of mad numbers being quoted around for players and the shortage of Monster 6s.
Yeah.
There we go.
Talking about players that might go for good value, or maybe it's not good value, but apparently is another story for us here. Jadon Sancho. Now, at this number, I'm not entirely sure if it's going to really release the money that Man United need, but apparently Jose Mourinho hasn't been put off leaving Turkish football, despite the outrage of leaked text messages linked to the mafia saying he's done out here. We have to get rid of this guy. He's apparently been on the phone every day the last few weeks trying to convince Jadon Sancho to join him out in Turkey. And now Jadon Sancho wants to go, and Mourinho has offered £15 million for the player. Is that good value, mate? £15 million, not bad, is it? I mean,
honestly, Jadon Sancho has been dragged like a whore through market, and
Johnny.
Well, he has been. They're dragging him around everywhere. And will you take him? No, I'd rather pay a fine, thanks. I'd rather pay a fine. Here's 5 mil. Right, look, he's damaged goods, obviously. 75 million, what, 3 years ago? Was it 3 or 2 years ago?
2 years ago, I think it was.
2 years ago, 75 million.
Sancho. No, 3 years ago, Sancho was.
3 years ago. Here we are trying to flog him for 15 million. It's like flog it. Use that TV show, flog it. Where you've got a bit of damaged goods and you look at it, well, it's a bit damaged, we'll whack it in.
We'll start the bid at £45 million. Anybody? No? £35 million. Anybody? No?
No.
£5 million? We got we're starting £5 million.
The old Jose at the back. Listen, look, 15 million, you can't go wrong, but Man United, I think he'll end up going on loan and United having to pay the wages. Tell me, talking quickly of Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
The guys at the Turkish board resigned, having been tweeting each other or texting each other saying, we got to get rid of Jose, whatever it takes, and plotting all sorts of skullduggery to get rid of him. How much do you think they're going to be offering him, Sean, to keep quiet and make this go away?
What, rather than suing them in court?
Yeah.
No, I haven't even thought of that, mate. Several million, probably. I mean, Mourinho's the perennial victim, isn't he? But this time he genuinely is one.
Infamy. They've all got it infamy. That should be on his grave.
I don't know how much we'll get paid for a payout, mate. But I don't know, mate. Like, for me, I feel like if the mafia are involved in some sort of element of that, like, who knows? I don't know anything what's going on. Just saying,
I mean, honestly,
it's wild, mate. I wouldn't want to be around the place where you're not wanted.
Imagine the scene, right? The Premier League. It transpires that the Premier League, the top brass at the Premier League, have all been going, we got to get rid of Arteta, right? How can we do it? Let's give him a shit referee that hates him, that hates Arsenal, right? Let's conspire. Let's see whatever we can do to drive Arteta out of Arsenal and make his time a misery. I mean, they should do that anyway, but I'm just saying, can you imagine the uproar should such a things happen? And that's what's happened in, basically in Turkey. It's quite incredible. And I think it feels to me, Sean, like this story's a bit swept under the carpet, if I'm honest. I'm sure
much like the Inter Milan shenanigans a couple of weeks ago as well. We haven't heard much about that, have we?
No, the 300, if you're not sure what story we're talking about, it's the story that Inter Milan's former Chinese owner created £300 million of fake sponsorship. Yes. And to make it worse,
allegedly, Johnny,
allegedly, and to make it worse, with the full knowledge, apparently, of the Italian FA.
Yeah, and they swept that under the rug, didn't they?
Allegedly. Not that anything normally like that ever goes on in Italian football, being the stand-up game that it is out there.
Absolutely wild, mate. Absolutely wild. Look, we'll park all this stuff for a minute. Let's get back to Premier League stories for a minute. Now, listen, story out today from, I think it's Give Me Sport, but it might be Caught Offside. I forget the name. I forget the.
You've been caught offside because you can't remember which one it is.
I'm always caught offside, mate. You know, and at this stage, I just usually say it started in Fujaces, the Spanish outlet, because they'll just start any old rumor. But the story is that Arsenal and Tottenham are in a tete-a-tete, a head-to-head battle to sign Mohamed Kudos. I mean, I don't really give this one too much credibility. £60 million apparently is the asking price. 85 is the release fee. Mohamed Kudos smacked the ball out of the park in his first season at Tottenham. First season at West Ham.
Well, he wasn't brilliant.
Last season, not so spectacular, right?
I mean, listen, look, the reality is Spurs will probably offer 35 million and a few skywalks. Arsenal will go straight in and offer the 60 million. Look, if we're serious, I can't see us paying 60 million for Kudos and not paying 65 million for Eze. So I don't have any thoughts on that. I think the likelihood is we're more likely. Are we more likely to buy a right winger? We are, aren't we, Spurs?
Listen, mate.
Who knows?
I personally think that the Eberici Eze story, I know everyone, I'm with you, by the way. Whenever I say these sorts of things, people then assume that I'm saying I don't rate him or I don't want him or I don't like him or I don't think he's good. None of those things are true. But in life, you have to be realistic that, if you've got Harry Kane and Alex Isak at your club already, for example, then the idea of signing Osimhen is kind of like, yeah, he's a fantastic player, but is he exactly what you need at that particular point if you've got a glaring hole elsewhere? Just use that analogy. For me, I look at Eberici Eze and I think that he is a better 10 than what we have by a country mile, but he isn't a direct take-on specialist left winger like we have been missing for a long time, and we don't have one on the right-hand side either. I am more than happy for Tottenham to sign Eberici Eze, but I, on that basis, would expect that Tottenham have to sell one of Decky or James Maddison at the next available opportunity, which will probably be next summer, not in January. So I don't know if you agree with that, but for me, I don't think Eze is the soul for our left wing. I think he's an improvement in the 10, but I think that you could still make the argument that Tottenham need to still go again and get at least one top winger.
Listen, for me, honestly, you and I will disagree on this one. I think Eze is the guy when there's a low block and you can't win a game, that picks up the ball on the D, drops his shoulder and bangs one in the bottom corner. That's the type of guy he is. He can drift in off the left. And, if Maddison's injured, he can play through it as a 10 or he can play out wide with Maddison. But I also agree that we need a quality right-sided player. I'll tell you who would be interesting to try and get back to the club now, if we felt it was it, is the player I didn't want to leave the club was Romain Mundle, who went to Belgium and then ended up back at Sunderland, and now Sunderland are trying to tie him down to a contract. But yeah, listen, I think
you're not going to want Romain Mundle coming in to be your starter, eh?
No, I'm talking about we need club trained players, Sean.
Oh, right? okay, but that's a different conversation. In terms of the winger specifically, though,
he's a winger, and he's.
No, I know, but do you want him to be like the winger that we want?
No, you can buy him for not much money, is what I'm saying, and still buy the one you want. Is what I'm saying.
Then we've already got. Oh, actually, that's not true. We had 10 wingers. Now we've got 9 because the JA's gone out on loan, hasn't he, today?
Yeah, listen. He's gone to Doncaster, that big club in League One, on loan. It'll do him good. But no, look, I think it's going to be a case of clubs who are moving quickly are going to get what they want, and if you dick around and you hang around, you're going to miss your targets. Right now, I see Arsenal fans. I think it was Turkish. Was it the guy going mad saying, "We don't want you, Sesko. We don't want Sesko." Now, I mean,
that was what's that guy's name? The guy who swears every 3 seconds.
Yeah. He was going mad. We don't want him, bro. We don't
want
that guy.
Him. Yeah. What's his name?
I forget his name. But they were going mad, But meanwhile, they haven't signed any striker. There's rumours of Victor Osimhen again going to out to Saudi, but I can't see that happening. They're offering him like all the gold that he can eat. Sure.
Yeah, no, I think Osimhen will end up at Manchester United personally, or Chelsea, but Man United predominantly because I don't think United will get Gyökeres. I think Gyökeres will end up at Arsenal. I think Sesko will maybe not even leave. And I think that Osimhen will end up at Man United. And I think Ekitike...
Liverpool.
I'm not sure. Maybe Liverpool. But then that depends on Darwin Núñez to go out the door, doesn't it?
It's a merry-go-round. You got Darwin Núñez is going to look like he's going to Napoli on the plane with all the other players that are going to Napoli.
Yeah.
And then they're going to need a striker. So are they going to go for Ekitike? Or are they going to go for an Osimhen? I mean, honestly, it's like there's so many permutations right now. And let's be honest, I still don't believe Man United can sign a striker. They got Cunha, they got Xerxes, and they got Højlund. They've got 3 strikers right now, even though Cunha sort of lies a bit deeper. So, that's true, Reece. Villa, Newcastle haven't done anything at the moment. But they tried to get Anthony Elanga, who is the second fastest player in the Premier League after Mickey van der Ven. Mind you, that doesn't mean anything because Timo Werner was actually the 3rd fastest player in the Premier League last season. Where did that get him? Now, Anthony Elanga is a very good player, and I was absolutely amazed that Man United got rid of him, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Anything. So they're looking further afield now, Newcastle, aren't they?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they'll go back in because but I don't know. There's Anthony Elanga. Is who?
Well, they didn't get because they didn't get him. Hang on, because they didn't get him, they're now looking at Johan Bakayoko at PSV, Karim Adeyemi at Borussia Dortmund, and they're also looking at Mohamed Kudos. I mean, all 3 of
Adeyemi is like he's even faster than Elanga, mate. He's wildly quick.
So they're looking for pace, and they're looking for players to run at them. And Bakayoko, Karim Adeyemi, and Mohamed Kudos are all 3 in the sort of same ilk as Anthony Elanga. But they mean business. But they offered 45 million. But they want 60 million for Elanga. They don't need to sell. So, you want it, you got to pay. I think some of the fees that are being quoted right now are mental, which is why, Forest doing £30 million for 2 standout players for Botafogo from Brazil could be great business when you look at how well Murillo has done at the back there for Forest.
Yeah.
Who else? What else have we got?
We've got loads, mate. We've got loads to talk about.
So Chelsea are still pressing ahead with the move to sign Jamie Gittens from Borussia Dortmund, and that's after a £42 million bid was rejected. The 20-year-old winger has remained a priority target for Chelsea, even though they're out in the World Cup. But Chelsea will sign one winger, and if they can't get hold of him and the price goes too high, they're going to try and go for Garnacho. Again, Chelsea look like they're looking at Kolo Muani, they're looking at Garnacho, they're looking at Gittens, but they're also maybe looking to sell Noni. So we will see. And obviously in Cuckoo.
Yeah. Story about your Arden Jashawi tonight, mate. So Club Brugge want 40 million euros. AC Milan they said, we're not going to do that. We're not interested. But they've come back and bid 30 million for him. Man United are also interested, but they say it's not a priority signing. Look, cracking player.
Yeah,
be interested to see if he gets into the Premier League, but it's probably Italian football is probably not a bad pace to see what he's like, with that sort of speed of football, that standard, before maybe moving over a little in a couple of years' time.
What's going to happen?
What's your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think he's a fantastic player. And you know what's going to end up happening? He's going to go out there. He's going to end up doing a deal for £30 million. And within 18 months, some club in the Premier League is going to have to pay 70 million for the player. I mean, look, we've seen it. His ball carries are insane. I mean, it got to the stage where I thought he was being greedy. He was carrying the ball that far. But when you look at his Wisecat and some of his videos, you can see he isn't, and his passing is superb. When we were talking about him originally, he was 20 million on transfer market, then it was 25, and now we're being quoted 35, 40 million. But this is it. If you think outside the box, maybe your club, whoever your club may be that's in the chat now, that your club is going to come up with a player like this, because I had only found Arden Jashawi recently in the last few weeks. Didn't know who he was up until that point. And maybe there's another player out there that your club's going to sign that's like that, who's going to set the Premier League on fire. There's always someone. Look at Matias Cunha. Look at Yao Gomez. Look at some of the players Wolves have signed over the time. The one who I really like is the one they signed this year. Wolves. What's his name?
Fer Torres. Fer Torres.
Fer Torres. Yeah,
he's a quality player. Not to be confused with Ferran Torres, who I think a lot of people think is the same player. It's not the same player. But Fer Torres is equally very, very impressive as well. Mate, let's shift this story along a little bit. I've just lost my... Hang on, what am I doing here? Let me just piece that there.
While you're doing that, I can drop in with a story if you want one.
Yeah, please do, mate. Sorry, I've got like 400 tabs
so
open.
Bournemouth are in the getting rid of players game again. So it looks like Max Aarons is going to go to Glasgow Rangers. They wanted to sell him to Glasgow Rangers, but I don't think they have the money. So he's going to go on loan with no obligation to buy. He's still only 25, Max Aarons. Everyone thought he was going to kick on. He was going to be his special player, but it doesn't look like, that's going to be the case. Maybe he can find himself in Scotland. And the other one, the big one for Leeds fans, is Leeds have confirmed the signing of defender Jacobillo from Udinese for around about 15 million. The 26-year-old signed a 5-year contract. He's meant to be a bit of a beast, actually.
Yeah.
63 appearances for Slovenia. You've probably seen him in the games when England have played Slovenia. And he was a bit of he had a very good tournament. I think it was Euro 2024. Yeah. When was it? 24? Yes. Yeah. Euro 2024. He had a very good tournament. So, that could be a good signing for them. Look, Leeds need to stop leaking goals. They need to, not concede if they're going to stay up. And he's definitely a very good signing for them to start moving forward now with the rest.
Leeds are doing a little bit, mate. Leeds are doing a couple of things. You know, like I think of the three teams, they're probably the one that I'm not saying they will stay up. But they probably got the best chance. Still got to figure out which of the teams that are the West Ham. You know, outside chance of Brentford, outside chance of. I don't think Bournemouth will go down, but it depends on how quickly they can replace some of these talents that are maybe out the door. Mate, I want to bring in another double whammy for a certain team from Nottingham. They did a double deal for those two players out of Botafogo. Yeah, right? But Marinakis is at it again, mate. He's at it again, this geezer. Nottingham Forest have agreed a deal worth about £19 million with Juventus for both Timothy Weah and Samuel Umbangula. Now, I don't know who Samuel Umbangula is, but Timothy Weah will be... Bing Bang Bowley. He's like Timothy Weah is quite a player, and if you are Timothy Weah, what a player! You know, there's going to be a song there somehow.
Timothy Weah, what a player! Hey, you've been working on that one all day. Listen, look,
he just literally came up.
That boss is like buy one get one free. He loves a deal. When he first came into the Premier League, he bought 27 players. He didn't know who any of them were. He hired a guy who literally signed everyone he could find on Y-Scout, and then found out the vast majority of them weren't that great and had to get rid of a load of them. But they really got their act together now. And I think Forest aren't going anywhere quick now, especially now that Nuno signed a new contract.
Mate, but these two players, listen, Nottingham Forest, just like, let's just give credit where it's due here, right? Like, Marinakis, obviously, we don't know whether he's the owner or not anymore, whatever, with Nottingham Forest. But that geezer's got like a 90% hit rate with his trading, with his transfers, and getting Nuno to sign a contract extension doesn't matter. I don't care what they do in the window. Getting him to extend after what he's done, probably their best signing of the summer. But I'll tell you what, George Weah's boy is some player, mate. And for those people that are Football Inc. enthusiasts, correct me if I'm wrong, but I used to hear all the time from people that play Football Inc. that he's someone who just gets you like 25 goals a season on Football Inc. Football Manager, not Football Inc. Let me,
Sean, just to say to you that someone in our chat with OCD is very much disturbed.
I saw it.
We had 11 at the top and 9 at the bottom. If you could correct it at a later date so that poor old Robson.
Which team gets relegated from the top shelf then?
Okay, Robson, your choice, mate. Who are we moving from the top to the bottom to accommodate to make it 10 at the top, 10 at the bottom?
I didn't even notice that, to be honest. It's pretty poor.
Yeah, that's our chat. We're so boring, Sean. It's so boring. He started counting club badges at the top.
Guys, there's nearly 400 people here. Please, we'll get rid of Arsenal. Fair enough.
We'll get rid of Arsenal, of course. Okay.
Yeah,
Hey guys, if you're in the chat, right, and you're here for the first time, whack us a subscribe and follow the channel. Give you a notification when we're back on. We're on every day for an hour, and hit that like button. And if you're here for the first time, tell us where you're from and who you support. We've had people from all over the world, more or less, since we've started this growing channel. Sorry, Shawnee, what were you about to say, mate?
Well, there's two stories I'm looking at right now. The first one is, according to Laurie Whitwell, who is from The Athletic, knows a thing or two about a thing or two. He says that Manchester United have informed interested clubs that Garnacho's fee would be £70 million. Are they cutting their nose to spite their face here, mate? Or do they think that they're going to get somebody else out the door? Maybe, if we said yesterday, if Nico Williams ends up not going to Barca because Bilbao would rather him leave the league altogether than go to a rival, go to Bayern Munich, then maybe that will push Marcus Rashford down Barcelona's throat. But either way, £70 million for Garnacho. We spoke about this before, mate. Statistically, when I've looked around on the Y-Scout tool looking for a top winger, a traditional winger, I filtered out hundreds of different things, tried loads of different iterations. And when I was left with 5 players out of 800,000, it didn't matter what version I gave. What version I tried.
Right up there.
His name was always there. Statistically, the geezer is very, very good at doing what wingers are supposed to do.
Unfortunately, Sean, he's a typical sort of South American. He's got a bit of an attitude and he carries a baggage. And as Thomas Frank said, he's a bit of a dickhead. And Managers don't want a dickhead. I mean, look, you're at Manchester United, you're playing games, and Ruben Amorim doesn't want to know. You've come out of the final and you're saying, I haven't played enough games and I've got to go. I've got to go.
We're not getting rid of the cannon, mate. We're just putting the cannon down. Mr. Putting it on the bottom floor, putting it where cannons need to be, ground level,
Yeah, we've got 11 at the top, as he pointed out. He's got 11 club badges at the top and only 9 at the bottom. So
to be fair, if we're doing it based on last season's Premier League status, then Tottenham should probably be on the bottom shelf. And
100%. 100%.
So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll use a random number generator, and then whichever one between 1 and 11 pops up.
It doesn't matter. Look, we've got Man City and Chelsea at the bottom, and Man United. So it matters not.
Here's another story for us, mate. We've got another story here. Breaking news: Victor Gyökeres. This is from Fabrizio a little while ago. Gyökeres has informed Sporting president Varandas that he wants to leave the club and has no intention. But he has no intention of playing for them again. Is this player power gone mad? Like if someone's not coming in, then pay the money or play for us.
He promised him. He had a handshake. We heard about golden handshake. Do you remember that handshake Harry Kane had with Daniel Levy?
Yeah.
And he had his fingers crossed behind his back when he was shaking his hand. I think the same has happened with the Sporting Lisbon, because he promised him he would be sold for no more than 65 million euros, correct?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, my God. There's another story just dropping here. Juventus are prepared to offer Dusan Vlahovic and Douglas Luiz as part of a swap deal with United for Jadon Sancho. And that's coming from Gazzetta dello Sport. The hell? How is Jadon Sancho worth more than Luiz and Vlahovic put together? What are we doing here? I'm starting to panic, mate, that maybe we've been reading the market wrong, reading the room wrong all along, and that maybe United have actually got the kind of the ball is in their court. Maybe they have the leverage, but that doesn't make any sense. I would take Dusan Vlahovic and Douglas Luiz to Tottenham, and they can have Sonny if they want.
They can have Sonny. We'll throw a couple in. What
are we doing here? Why would they want Jadon Sancho? Toxic Jadon.
Listen, look, Douglas Luiz hasn't been. I don't know. He just hasn't hit it. He hasn't hit it. Yeah,
he hasn't. But like this, it must be bollocks. But it's coming from. I'm not lying to you guys. I'll show you the story. This is from Gazzetta. I mean, Gazzetta dello Sport are generally okay, aren't they? I think they're okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Gazzetta dello Sport. I mean, like, it's not.
And there's the story about Tottenham and Arsenal battling it out for Mohamed Kudos. Would you take Mohamed Kudos at Tottenham, mate? We sort of drifted past that conversation.
I just think he's like, why isn't he doing it for West Ham? I mean, obviously, you can understand. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a bit of a risk. I mean, listen, there's no doubt he's a very good player. For me, it's about consistency, Sean. I don't want a player that's banging the goals in, from August to the beginning of October, and when the weather turns shit, right, he goes missing again, doesn't turn up again till April when the sun comes out. No, I need someone who's going to get down and dirty, to be honest with you, and that isn't him. It really isn't. What was the other story? I mean, Man United have made an improved bid for Brentford, so for Brian Mbeumo. So 55 million was rejected. So they bid 60, but are they going to pay up? Are they going to pay the money? The one deal that looks like it's definitely going to get done is Kepa to Arsenal for only £5 million.
Yeah.
Which seems like a good deal, to be honest. But I will say to you, if Raya gets injured, good luck.
Yeah, Kepa's dog shit, mate. He's dog shit.
Yeah, exactly. He's not
what you want. He's not what you want as a backup goalkeeper. I mean, honestly, I don't know what the hell Chelsea were thinking paying the money they did.
I don't understand. Did we see the players, the players' Player of the Year award nominees? Did you?
Yeah, I'll let you say it to me. I'll bring it up in a second. But Romano's on a mad one right now. He's put out like 5 tweets in the last couple of minutes. The first one, Ajax have agreed to a deal to sign Raul Moro for a package over 12 million. He's a classy talent, that guy, Raul Moro.
Is Hatto leaving, Sean? Is Hatto leaving? I hope so.
Yeah, I think he is as well.
Yeah, what a player he is.
Yeah, I mean, Raul Moro plays for he's Valladolid. He's a winger for Valladolid, so that's not like a like-for-like replacement, obviously. But I think Jarell Hatto is going to be leaving this summer. 18, 19 years old. He's got a full season under his belt. Played as left-sided centre-back. I think he's been shifted, like sort of chaperoned out to the left back, but left fullback. But I would absolutely, if Tottenham had Jarell Hatto at 18, Destiny Udogie, what is he, 21? Pedro Porro at 25 now, and Jed Spence at 20. What's he, 23, Jed? 23, is he? 24, 23?
23, 24, Jed Spence.
I mean, that's like your fullback situation is then sorted for a long time. Now, a player that I was talking about that I wouldn't have minded Tottenham going and getting as a free transfer when it was like sell to buy is the path for the course for Tottenham this summer from Matt Law, was Kenny Tete. And yes, I think it was on yesterday's show. We spoke about Kenny Tete agreeing to join Everton. But actually, this evening, literally just now, Romano has just reported that that Fulham have sent a new improved contract proposal to Kenny Tete after he verbally agreed to join Everton earlier this week. Wow. Both Fulham and Everton are proposed on the table for the right back who's available as a free agent. I'll tell you what, mate. I think people are underrating how valuable he. I think when people look at Fulham under Marco Silva and they admire the fact that they have such a brilliant ability to take, not saying average players, but like not top tier players at the top end of the pitch and at the on the width and do what they do. People always look at Anthony Robinson and say he's the real creator of that value, and he is. Don't get me wrong; he's an amazing left back. But Kenny Tete is so valuable. No one would put him in the top 10 right backs in the Premier League list, but they should, because for me, I think he's an absolute unit. Even at 31 years old, I think he is. He's got an engine on him. He's so brilliantly balanced. You don't see people sort of just skinning him alive. And right back's probably more difficult as a defensive right back to handle than being a left back, because most right-footed players play off the left-hand side, right, and they want to cut inside. And Kenny Tete is. I'd still take him to Tottenham. I would still take him to Tottenham. So I don't think Tariq Mitchell is on a free. I think that
no, he's not on a free, guys. I know
he signed a contract, didn't he? That it just wasn't announced. Is that right?
Yeah, he's 100% not a free. I mean, he's a very good player. Manuz, I can't see. I can't see him going.
No. He's still at Palace.
A lot of the players out. I can see a lot of deals being done late this season. I really can, because there's a lot of posturing. And let's be honest, when you're being quoted 60 million for Anthony Elanga, 70 million for this player, 65 for that. I mean, come on. I think we suddenly got out of nowhere. We got a load of inflation. I feel like it just feels to me like, well, I think we spoke about this yesterday, mate. If Saudi Arabia keep getting rejected by players who don't want to go there because of the war, money in the wash, Sean. No money in the wash.
No money in the wash.
Yeah,
that kicks things. There's like a
stagnation.
Stagflation, yeah. By the way, it just feels to me like everybody who's any good in world football seems to be 60 to 70 million quid, and like within that bracket, you have the high potential, high ceiling, but not done it just yet, to the smashing the ball out, like smashing their goals in various leagues, and then you have like the occasional outlier, like a Florian Wirtz or whatever. But it seems like £70 million seems to be the ceiling on the market, where about 50% of top-rated players seem to be banging their heads against that ceiling. And 2 years ago, 70 million quid, excuse me, 2 years ago, 70 million quid seemed like that was the new normal. Now that seems to be a bit of a ceiling. And I just wonder whether it's because Saudi Arabia are not going to be able to be getting these clubs out of trouble. And so, they have to get on board a new level of a new level of seriousness with regards the valuations of these assets, especially as the world seems to be pivoting towards no one wants to pay top money for a 27-year-old anymore. Look at, for example, Douglas Luiz, £25 million for that guy.
Yeah.
Is that just because he's 27?
Well,
He's still got 5 years, 6 years in him, hasn't he, mate?
I mean, this is what I don't understand. It's like everyone's turned ageist. He's 27. Can't pay that for Eze. He's coming up 27. It's well, hang on a minute. He's 27. He's not 36. I mean, seriously.
But the new normal seems to be, I'm happy to pay 50 million quid for a 19-year-old.
19-year-old. Yeah. Yeah.
Chelsea paid 42 million quid for that geezer from Sporting, who's not even joining them until next year. Right? I feel like that what's going to happen here, you're going to have a zero-sum game where essentially every club is going to be buying and paying. Everyone's turning to 18 and 19-year-olds. That's the new hot property, right? Everyone wants the next big thing, even if they're not the next big thing yet. And how many 18-year-olds fall off by the time they're 21 because too much too soon, or they're just whatever, something happens, right? And so if you're not paying for here now, ready now, but you're paying massive money for potential, you could almost make the argument that the smart minds in the room are going to walk away from that strategy and walk back towards 26, 27-year-olds, because that's where you find the value now.
Mate, they're doing deals at 12 and 13. They're making kids go and pay for, elite trainers at 12 and 13 years of age to get their kids up. Look at Ferguson. Brighton wanted £100 million for him. Remember? Yeah. This season, £100 million they wanted. Now you'd be struggling to get 20. You struggle to get 20 million for him, and this is the risk that you make. So I don't understand why there's a reluctance, I understand if you spend 60, 65 million on a 27-year-old, the likelihood is plus don't forget the wage. You're never going to see your money back. There's no return.
How are you going to see? Look, just work with me on the logic here, Johnny.
Yeah.
If everybody is now moving to 18 and 19-year-olds to the point where you're not going to find £10 million 18-year-olds, those that were 10 are now going to become 30 and 40.
Correct.
If you're doing that in the hope that that's where the asset appreciation is, at the same time as nobody wants 27-year-olds anymore, then why are you buying these players in the hope that you're going to be able to sell them at 26 when no one
wants to pay? No one wants to pay.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And, what is it you said? You win nothing with kids. Look, I think youth football is great, and it's great having it's great having the young players, but you need experts, you need experience to take them to the pleasure dome, right? You don't give kids to go out on a night out to find some birds. You take some adults with them and supervise them.
Yeah.
I just Tyler Dibbling, exactly. Tyler Dibbling, £75 million, £70 million they're being quoted.
If you're Daniel Levy and right now you're saying silly things unless you mean it, like with the ambitions to win the league, if everybody else is going towards the kids, and you've already done that for the last 2 years, and congratulations, you weren't the groundbreaker on that idea, but you certainly got ahead of the new wave, and now you've gone out and found some £5 million Japanese monster who but we've got enough. Now, surely the smart money is to go and get some 27-year-olds when no one else wants to pay 50, 60 million pound for them, like a Douglas Luiz. Right, if that's where the market is, and then you're going to go and see the likes of Chelsea and everybody else going, I'll pay 40 million quid for a kid that I have no idea where he might be excellent, but that's the sell-on value. To me, the logic is if everyone leans left, there's probably a little bit of space on the right. Do you know what I mean? And then you can make some better decisions, especially if you've got a short window to manufacture some ambition.
Sean, if Football Inc. was the football business right now, we'd be out of a job, mate. They'd be looking for 19-year-olds to do our show, right? That'd be it.
100%. That's what I'm saying, mate. Actually, there's real value in a little bit of wisdom here. Real value in a little bit of wisdom.
Yeah,
okay? Everyone's going that direction. Nah, come over here, guys. Come over here. You've still got some,
What about, Andre Lookman? I mean, I liked him. I liked him when he was at Everton, funny enough. Another player. Very good. Are we agreed, the guys in the chat, if your team needed a 6-ish, would you take Douglas Luiz over Paulinho?
I'd take. Well, Douglas Luiz is not. He's not technically a 6, is he? But
we're going to get technical about it.
Edison and Douglas Luiz, they're not. They're 8s. They're ball playing monsters, but they can do that role, and certainly in a double pivot, which is what is likely we're going to play under.
I was a ball playing monster in my younger days, so I can tell you that. Brighton have lowered their ask price to just 90 million for Ferguson now. Yeah, they're willing to give you a 10% discount on the original price. If you're in the chat, guys, and you haven't hit the like button, it's that little button there. Just give it a push. Go on. Just 100%. Just like that. Doesn't hurt, but it helps us. It helps the algorithm, helps more people discover us, and helps us to grow the channel and bring you more content. So,
100%. Right, mate. I'm gonna ask you another update question. Another story here. With regards another goalkeeper, mate, Fenerbahce. Guess who else is that? Who else would it be? If we go Turkish football, we go in one direction. Ben Jacobs has said that that Fenerbahce have asked about Leeds United keeper Ian Maillet.
He's got 1 year left on his contract, Sean, so that's probably why. The only people that don't know anything about it, though, are Leeds. Typical Turkish deal. Typical. Don't worry. We'll do the deal. We'll speak to your club another time.
Mate, he's a weird goalkeeper. He was linked to Tottenham a couple of years ago. He must be about 23 now, but he was 21, I think, when Tottenham were looking at him. Another wonderful shot stopper, but incredibly volatile, incredibly capable of making some absolute clangers. But it's just another example of, like, suddenly age is everything. Like the average age of football clubs around the country, around the world, around Europe at least, seems to be dropping dramatically.
Apart from Italy.
Yeah, Italy don't mind.
You can play at 42. 42, you can still get a game.
100%, mate. 100%.
Jordan Henderson, he looks like he's so slow that you and I could maybe give him a run for his money. Well, he's off. He's off again. Where's he off to?
Marseille, isn't he, Jordan Henderson?
Yes, that's it. Marseille. Yeah.
It's interesting. The goalkeeper market's really, really heating up. It's
well, there's so many. Yeah, there's so many right now. We've had rumours of Vicario, Onana, Emi Martinez, Aaron Ramsdale, Kepa. We got Marashvili, who's now gone to Liverpool, who they did that deal last time. We got Kelleher, who's moved to Brentford, and then you got what's the name, who's moved to the keeper has gone to Bayer Leverkusen.
Right, yeah, exactly, mate, exactly. So another story for you today, mate, is Barcelona. We spoke about Torres going to Wolves. Well, Ferran Torres might be going just around the corner in Birmingham to Aston Villa. Barcelona player Ferran Torres, big admirer in Unai Emery, mate. What are we thinking right now? It's all quiet on the Aston Villa front, isn't it? What do you think is going on there? Is it because maybe, I'm not sure of the specifics here, but I know that they took the 13th month last year to get themselves out of the FFP bind.
Right. Probably do it. I don't know
if they've got themselves back in. Does that mean that they're not going to be able to move into their new financial year until August the 1st, do you think? Or why is it all quiet over there? Have they got to sell before they can buy? We're just waiting. What's the thing?
Well, look, as we all know, or if you don't know, Aston Villa really pushed the boat out. They were spending not a Tottenham 42% of income, and they had a bigger income. Don't forget, Spurs had a bigger income than Aston Villa. Aston Villa were at 96% of income. Totally unsustainable, but they truly believed that they were going to get in the Champions League, which they didn't. We all know what happened on the controversial last day. But so they got rid of Asensio and they got rid of Rashford back to their clubs, which got rid of a massive amount of wages, even though both were subsidised by their feeder club. But I think they're going to need to sell. They got Bailey, who I think they're likely to get rid of, and Emi Martinez has said he's desperate to get to Man United. So I think those two players maybe a Ramsey, and also Lucas Digne.
He's going, wasn't he? He was going on the cheap though, Lucas Digne, wasn't he? He's going for like, I think he was going for like 5 million or something, or 8 million quid or something. We spoke about this the other day, didn't we?
Well, I think what's name the Forest owner was trying to see if he could get buy one, get one free of those, but no, there was only one on offer with Lucas Digne. He likes his deals. They all need to do is a seller's asset to shareholders company and then PSL complaint. Maisie's Adventure. What's that he's got there?
What's that?
Maisie's Adventures.
I've left that quote up. If no one's buying the 27-year-olds, then surely they're cheaper. That's the point I'm making, mate. Is that essentially if the whole market seems to be looking towards 21-year-olds, and in so doing you create these bidding wars for kids, then I think that you should, if you're a businessman or just smart tactically, if you know that there's value in every pool, but if everybody's fishing in the same pond, then maybe you can find less competition, less demand for the same supply in a different pond, and you should be going fishing over there. And for someone like Tottenham that got ahead of this short shift towards youth and went and bought up, we've got a very, very promising youth sort of pool of talent. Now, maybe Daniel Levy's pulling a blinder if he does go and pivot back. And obviously Eze's top draw, so you're not going to get him for like pennies in the pound, but you can go and get Polinia. You could go and get a Douglas Luiz. You could probably go and get an Edison. You could probably go and get any number of players from 27 upwards who have still got a hell of a lot of time on their side. And like to me, it just if everyone's looking there, I want to go and see what's over here. We've already been over here.
Don't follow the herd. Don't follow the herd. Never be a sheep. I've never been a sheep in my entire life. If there's a queue, everyone's in the queue on the left, and I fancy what's over on the right. That's where I'm going.
100%.
Sean and Johnny, would you buy Alicia Lehmann to get Douglas Luiz free?
I mean, she'd probably do a good job in the women's team. Let's be honest.
Here's one that we sometimes have asked. I asked this question myself at times. Could Romero play the 6?
He won't play the 6 because
but I've always asked that question because I always thought he could. Be honest,
could he? Yeah, I think he could.
He could,
but he wouldn't because I would imagine that the 6 spot in the Argentinian setup is probably a little bit more commanding and demanding and competitive than he's got his regular spot. And he's not going to. He's not going to want to spend the entire year, especially in a World Cup here, playing a position that he's not going to play for his country. There's very few examples of players that played their entire career in one position for their club and another position for their country, is there? So,
Foxy, is Illing Jr., you've got Villa can still sell Buendia, then Donker. Is Illing Jr. not a Juventus?
Illing Jr. is he went to Villa, didn't he, last year?
Jesus, I thought he was. Why do I think he was still at Juventus? Sorry,
he was going to come to Tottenham. I think he.
I really like him. Samuel Illing Jr., isn't it? Samuel Illing Jr. Yeah, I don't know why he was at Juventus. I thought he didn't move out. I mean, they're not going to get much for.
Has he played for? Was it a buy and a loan back?
I thought he was. I don't remember him coming here on a permanent. I really don't.
I'm looking him up now. No, he's at Middlesbrough. Where did he go to Middlesbrough?
Samuel Illing Jr.
Yeah, Samuel Illing Jr. is currently at Middlesbrough.
Wow. Okay. Buendia, you're not going to get much for him. Moreno, good player. You see, Moreno and Buendia are the sort of players.
Sorry, hang on, just quickly.
Can't be.
He was moved from Juventus to Villa for 14 million quid last summer. And then he went on loan to Bologna. And then he came back from Bologna to Villa in January or February. And then he moved from Villa to Middlesbrough. And he's been on loan at Middlesbrough for the second half.
Here's the thing. He's considered to be a really good talent. And so sometimes they just lose their way. Incredible.
He's at CAA base, isn't he?
He's a good player. The players like Illing Jr., Buendia, then Donker, Moreno, they're the sort of players that end up in promoted teams who try to get hold of him on a short contract to try and keep them up because they've got experience. Sean, what about Andreas Schlederup on the left? Schlederup.
Who's that? What are you talking about? What? Who is he?
Mates' Adventures.
Where's Maze's Adventures?
Andreas Schlederup, 917.
Oh, Schelderup.
Schelderup. Shelves are up. Shelves are up.
Shells are up. Yeah, shells are up. Only in a high tide.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
Not for me, mate. I mean, it could be a good player, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with him, mate. To be honest, I haven't watched him enough.
I can't say. I mean, Illing Jr. was part of the dodgy deal with Villa. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of deals that have been done with Aston Villa, bouncing around between the Italians, back scratching with Chelsea and all the rest of it. Should look good. Oh, Nusa and him going to compete for the spot on the national team. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he's playing in the World Cup, right?
Antonio Nusa is going to be making a move again, isn't he? Very soon.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to Brentford, right? And his knee injury turned up. Yes. Miami 2, what's the name 2? That was Benfica. Yeah, there we go. Andreas Schlederup. Shelves are up. He just scored against Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
He just scored against Bayern Munich, yeah.
Now, Morten Hulmand, I mean, he's another player that I wouldn't mind seeing in the Premier League. I would love to see it. Guys, just quickly, we're going to finish up here in about 5 minutes at 9:30. If you hang around, we're going to get redirected over to the Spurs Talk Show. We're going to talk a little bit more. I'm on there with Levy-nomics. Connor is going to come on and we're going to have a chat about what's going on with France, what's going on with covenants and things, a little bit of football finance, and obviously some transfer news views includes more Tottenham stuff.
I'll tell you who I'd like, Sean, just before we bugger off, is Richard Rios. What a player he is. And today there was the battle between Messi and the little Messi, Esteval, who played for Palmeiras today, which drew with Inter Miami 2-2. He's coming to Chelsea this summer. What a player he is. It'll be interesting to see what he does. I mean, he's very slight. I'm not sure whether he'll be able to hack it, but he's an absolute baller, proper player. Who you going to? We're going to do Levy-omics.
Nice, okay. Yes, you're more than welcome to join if you want, of course, mate. Yeah. £77 million gets you Rodrigo, right? It's, what is that? Sort of £15 million more.
Is that euros or pounds?
77 million euros, so 70 million quid. Same sort of price as what gets you Semenyo. Is there any chance that Tottenham could convince Rodrigo to come to Tottenham?
No, he'll go to Arsenal. I could see Martinelli going to Bayern Munich. Don't forget they lost out on Florian Wirtz. They have sold Sane. They've sold Tell. You know, I think they're looking for they'll be looking for a winger. 70 million is a bargain. They might pay 70 million now, but
I'm going to put this out on Spurs Talk Show. I'm going to do a poll because I want to see how
you love a poll.
Love a poll. I love Ukrainian. I love a poll. Yeah. I love
70 million and 400 grand a week wages.
Yeah, but I'd love to know if people go, well, do you want Eze for 60 or do you want Rodrigo? Just argument's sake. And I just want to see how committed the fan base are to the Eze story. Because I think everyone is, because they think it's the best that we can get. And
beggars can't be choosers. Beggars can't be choosers. And right now, you know, Arsenal would love a striker. Spurs would love a number 6 and a quality winger. Everton would like a number of players.
Yep.
You know, Man United would like a striker and get rid of half of the players that are on 300 grand a week. There's a lot of desires and wishes out there.
100%, mate. 100%. Listen, I think that's about it then, mate. We've done the duty for the day, guys. Please smash the granny out of the like button or the nanny.
Hit the like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you're here for the first time, the subscribe button, it doesn't cost you any money, because someone asked me the other day, subscribe, you're not subscribing to anything. We're not here to take all your money. All subscribe does is tell you when we're on. So 100%. Don't panic, Mr. Mannering, and hit that and hit the like button, guys. And hopefully we will see you tomorrow. Don't forget, July the 1st, Monday, July the 1st is when this is all going to kick off, because the window will be open. The new tax year is going to kick in, and I think that's when we're going to start to see the deals. Reese, we heard you were a granny basher, mate. But this is not the time.
I'm going to call you Wayne Rooney Jaggo instead.
Wayne.
Wayne Jagger. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Thanks for everyone for smashing the like, smashing the subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully earlier on in the afternoon, between 3 and 5. We're going to get back to our early afternoon or late afternoon sessions, but we will see you tomorrow. Stay where you are. We'll be over on the Spurs Talk Show if you're interested in that sort of shenanigan in about 5 minutes' time. Cheers, guys.
Mate.
And it's goodbye from this guy. Bye.